Good morning, children. Today we will start chapter 9 Madam Rides the Bus. Children, before this and after Glimpses of India, Trees poem, Misbel the Otter chapter, and Fog again poem. These are deleted from our syllabus. So we'll straight away start chapter 9 Madam Rides the Bus, written by Valli Kannan. So let's start and read it out. In this sensitive story, an 8-year-old girl's first bus journey into the world outside her village is also her induction into the mystery of life and death. Induction means entrance, and mystery is something that is difficult to understand. So, this is a very sensitive story, very touching story of a little girl, 8-year-old girl. Her name is Vali, and this story is about her first journey into the outside world, that is away from her village. This is an entrance into a world that is a little bit mysterious, and she comes to know about life and death. She sees the gap between our knowing that there is death and our understanding of it. Actually, when she was in her village, she don't know about death and all. She has never happened to see what is death and how to face it. So when she goes out into the town for her first bus ride, there she happens to saw death, and how she feels after that, that is there in the whole story. So let's read it out and find out. Children, here are two activities before the chapter. This you can do yourself. These are very simple activities. Now the chapter. There was a girl named Vallaimai who was called Valli for short. She was 8 years old and very curious about things. Her favorite pastime was standing in the front doorway of her house, watching what was happening in the street outside. There were no playmates of her own age on her street, and this was about all she had to do. Children, please take a pencil with you, underline the difficult words, and write down the meanings in the book itself. So, in this first paragraph, first of all is in the second line short. Short means in short. Then curious. Curious means very eager to know, very anxious to know. Favorite is, you can say, most likable. And playmates are the companions or the friends. So this is a story about a girl whose name was Vallai Mai, and in short she was called Vallai. She was 8 years old and she was very eager to know about new things. Generally, there is curiosity in all the children of her age group. So she was also like that. Whenever she sees something new, she was always eager to know about that. Her favorite means the most likable thing of her was to stand in front doorway of her house and to see what was happening there in the street outside. Children, you can see the picture also. Here the picture is shown where a girl is standing at the door of her house, and outside there is street, and she is just watching what is happening there in the street. So this was her favorite pastime. There were no companions of her own age. Uh, in the neighborhood there were no children of her age, so she had no friends with whom she could play. So her favorite pastime was just to stand at the door of her house and to see what was happening in the street. But for Wally, standing at the front door was every bit as enjoyable as any of the elaborate games other children played. Watching the street gave her many new, unusual experiences. So, every bit means totally, or you can say here complete. So, for Wally, standing at the door, that was as enjoyable as other children enjoy while playing other big games. Elaborate means big games. So other children used to play those games, but for Valli, her favorite pastime was, or the most enjoyable activity was, to stand at the door and to enjoy what was going on in the street. And watching the street gave her many new unusual means uncommon. So every day she happens to see something very uncommon happening in the street. So that was every day she got to know something new that was very unusual for her, but that was very uncommon for her. Now the next page, children. The most fascinating thing of all was the bus that travelled between her village and the nearest town. It passed through her street each hour, once going to the town and once coming back. The sight of the bus filled each time with a new set of passengers was a source of unending joy for Vali. So the most fascinating means attracting. So for Vali, the most attractive thing was the bus that used to travel, that used to come daily into her village from the nearest town. So the bus used to come and go in between her village and the nearby town, and after every 1 hour the bus used to come and go, and every time the bus was filled with a new set of means every time new group of passengers were there, and that was a source of unending means never ending joy for Vali. So this was the her favorite pastime, to see new faces in the bus after every 1 hour in which the bus used to come between her village and the nearby town. Day after day, she watched the bus, and gradually a tiny wish crept into her head and grew there. So it was her daily routine whenever she watched the bus, and gradually means slowly, a very small wish crept into her head. Crept into means make way into her head, and it started growing there means a wish came to her mind, and with the passage of time that wish grow into a big desire. And what was that wish? She wanted to ride on that bus, even if just once, and the wish was to take a ride of that bus at least once. This wish became stronger and stronger until it was an overwhelming desire, and finally this wish, it with the passage of time it became stronger and stronger, and it turned into an overwhelming means overpowering desire. Now she was not able to control that wish, and she just wanted to have a ride of the bus at least once. Vali would stare wistfully at the people who got on or off the bus when it stopped at the street corner. Wistfully is longingly. So, when she saw the people who were in the bus, who board the bus or who come out of the bus, when it stopped there at the street corner, she very desirefully, you can say, or very longingly, she looked at the people because she herself wanted to have a ride of that bus. Their faces would kindle in her longings, dreams, and hopes. Kindle means, you can say, set alight. Here, the feelings. So, whenever she saw the passengers who come out of the bus, and their faces, the happy faces, they just set fire to her desire. And the desire was to take the ride of that bus. So, with every round of the bus, whenever she saw the passengers boarding into the bus and coming out of the bus, the wish of taking the ride, it grew bigger and bigger. And if one of her friends happened to ride the bus and tried to describe the sights of the town to her, Vali would be too jealous to listen and would shout. And if sometimes one of her friends happened to take a ride of the bus, and when they come back and when they describe the sights which they have seen in the town, then Vali felt very envious. Jealousy, she felt envious of that, and she just doesn't want to hear that. She just stopped them, she shouted at them, and she said to them, proud, proud. Neither she nor her friends really understood the meaning of the word, but they used it often as a slang expression of disapproval. Slang expression is an informal words which are often used within a close group, or you can say expression of an Disapproval is expression of an unfavorable opinion. Means when you don't agree with someone. So whenever the her friends they try to describe her the sights, she just stopped them and she said them proud, proud. Actually, neither she nor her friends they know the meaning of this word proud. They just say this whenever they want to stop someone from saying what they want to say. So she just, because she felt jealous of her friends at that time. So she was she was not in an opinion of hearing that. So she just stopped them by saying proud, proud. Over many days and months, Valli listened carefully to the conversations between her neighbors and people who regularly used the bus, and she also asked a few discreet questions here and there. So, for many days and months, she just very carefully listened to the information. Conversation is the informational talk. So, she just listened to the information that was given to her, not intentionally, actually, they were just talking about the ride and about the bus. So she just heard that conversation that goes between her neighbors and the people who regularly take the ride of the bus. And she also asked a few discreet, means very tactful or very careful questions from here and there. Also means she gathered all the information about the bus, when it comes, when it goes, and all that. This way, she picked up various small details about the bus journey, and in this way, she gathered all the information about the bus. The town was 6 miles from her village, and now she describes the whole thing, the time, etc., which the bus takes to go to the nearby town. So the town, it was 6 miles away from their village. The fare was 30 paisa one way, which is almost nothing at all. And the fare of that, or you can say the price of the ticket, was 30 paisa one side. Means if she goes from her village to town, it will cost her 30 paisa, and if she comes back from town to village, again it will cost her 30 paisa. So together it was 60 paisa, which is almost not so much. She heard one well dressed man say, but to Valli, who scarcely saw that much money from one month to the next, it seemed a fortune. So she heard all this from a man who was very well dressed, and for him, 30 paisa was not so much. But for Valli, it was a huge amount, because generally the little children they don't have so much of money. So for her, scarcely is rarely. So for her, that was money, that much money, 60 paisa, was a very rare scene to see, and it was a fortune for her to see 60 paisa altogether in a month. The trip to the town took 45 minutes. The journey taken was 45 minutes, and on reaching town, if she stayed in a seat and paid another 30 paisa, she could return home on the same bus. And now she had imagined everything, that if she will board the bus, and if she reached the town, and if she stayed there in the bus itself, she will not get out of the seat and she will not visit the town. Then, and if she returned back by the same bus, then it would take next 30 paisa, and this meant that she could take the 1 o'clock afternoon bus, reach the town at 1:45, and be back home by about 2:45. She had planned everything, that if suppose she bought the bus and she stayed there in the bus itself, and she came back by the same bus, then if she took the 1 o'clock bus, she will reach the town at 1:45. If she stayed there, then the same bus will come back at 2:45. So from 1 o'clock to 2:45, the whole journey can be completed. So she had planned all that. On and on went her thought as she calculated and recalculated, planned and replanned. So after planning all that, she keep on planning all that, she keep on calculating everything, and as she keep on doing this, her desire, her thought to take that journey, it also grew larger and larger. It also became uncontrollable for her to stop her wish of taking the ride of that bus. Well, on one fine spring day, the afternoon, bus was just on the point of leaving the village and turning into the main highway when a small voice was heard shouting, "Stop the bus, stop the bus," and a tiny hand was raised commandingly. Commandingly means giving order, or you can say here drawing attention. So it was a spring season was there, and it was a fine spring day in the afternoon when the bus was just about to leave the village and it was turning into the main highway, when suddenly the conductor heard a small voice and a hand was raised that was giving order or that was drawing the attention of the driver, and it was saying to stop the bus. The bus slowed down to a crawl, and the conductor, sticking his head out the door, said, "Hurry then, tell whoever it is to come quickly." So, when the driver saw that a hand was there that was asking to stop the bus, it just applied the brakes, the bus slowed down, and finally it stopped. Crawl means to move slowly. It moved slowly for some time and then it came to a halt. And then the conductor took out he took out his head out of the door and said, "Hurry up, whoever is with you who has to board the bus, ask them to come quickly." "It's me," shouted Vale. "I am the one who has to get on." Then Wali shouted, "It is me only. I have to board the bus. I have to get into it." By now, the bus had come to a stop, and the conductor said, "Oh, really? You don't say so." Till then, the bus had completely stopped, and then the conductor said, "Really? It is you? But you don't say that you have to get into the bus." "Yes, I simply have to go to town," said Wali, still standing outside the bus, "and here is my money." She showed him some coins. Then Wali said, "Of course, it is me. I have to go to the town," and still she was outside the bus. Then she showed him the money. She just wanted to confirm her that it is her only who had to go to the town to take the ride of the bus. She showed him the coins. "Okay, okay, but first you must get on the bus," said the conductor, and he stretched out a hand to help her up. So the conductor said, "It's okay, okay, baby. You just first get into the bus." And then he just gave his hand to help her to get into the bus. "Never mind," she said. "I can get on by myself. You don't have to help me." Then she said, "No, no, I don't need your help. I can myself get into the bus and I don't need anybody's help." The conductor was a jolly sort, fond of joking. Jolly sort means he was very happy, very cheerful man. And he was very interested in cracking jokes also. So, "Oh, please don't be angry with me, my fine ma'am," he said. "Here, have a seat right up there in front. Everybody move aside, please. Make way for ma'am." Now, since the conductor was a very jolly person, so uh, he tried to play joke and he said, "Oh, please, ma'am, don't be angry with me. You just please get inside." Everyone, and he asked everyone, just to make fun, he said, "Everyone, please make way for ma'am. Ma'am is coming." And he asked her to take a seat there just in front. It was the slack time of the day. Slack time means a time when there is not much work. So, and there were only 6 or 7 passengers on the bus. Since it was afternoon, she has boarded 1 o'clock bus. So, generally this time the bus was not so much passengers were there in the bus. So, only 6 or 7 passengers were there. They were all looking at Wali and laughing with the conductor. Wali was overcome with shyness. So when conductor said like this, everyone started looking at Wali and they started laughing also with the conductor. Now Wali became she became very shy. She was very embarrassed, feeling very embarrassed because this was happening for the first time. The conductor started calling him madam and all that, and all the passengers, they started looking at her and they all laughed. So she felt very embarrassed. Avoiding everyone's eyes, she walked quickly to an empty seat and sat down. So she just avoided everyone. She moved very fastly and she took a seat and she sit down there. Children, you can see a picture here. Little girl, she is sitting there in the bus. 2 3 passengers are there, they're all laughing, and the conductor is also standing giving her the tickets, and he is also laughing. So, may we start now, ma'am? The conductor asked, smiling. Then he blew his whistle twice, and the bus moved forward with a roar. So, when Bali has taken her seat, the conductor came towards her, and he just took permission from her if they could start. So, just to make fun of, to make her happy, he just said, "Okay, ma'am, can we start?" And then he just blowed his whistle 2 times, and the bus started moving. It was a new bus. Its outside painted a gleaming white and with some green stripes along the sides. Now, since for Vali everything was so exciting, she observed the bus very keenly, and the bus is how it looks is described in this paragraph. So it was a very new bus. Its outside was painted with a gleaming is shining. It was painted with a shining white color with green stripes. Stripes are, you can say, long narrow band of lines was there. So green stripes were there along the sides. Inside the overhead bars, they shone like silver. Directly in front of Vali, above the windshield, there was a beautiful clock. So inside also the bars that were overhead, they were shining like silver, and just in front of Vali there was a windshield, and above it there was a beautiful clock also in the bus, and the seats were very soft and luxurious. So they were very cozy, very comfortable. Vali devoured everything with her eyes. Devoured means to absorb wholly, means she just wanted to just absorb all that thing in her mind. She was looking at all the things very keenly, but when she started to look outside, she found her view cut off by a canvas blind that covered the lower part of her window. So she stood up on the seat and peered over the blind. So, after observing that, but she wanted to have a look of the outside also. So she wanted to have the outside view also, but the outside view, it was covered by a canvas blind. Blind is a curtain. So a curtain was there, and because of that curtain, the lower part of the window was covered, and she was not able to see the outside view. So she stood up on the seat, and she just peeped from the upper part of the window that was not covered by the curtain. So she stand up on the seat, and she peeped outside by standing there on the seat. The bus was now going along the bank of a canal. Now the bus was passing by the side of a canal. The road was very narrow. Narrow means it was of a very small width. It was not too much broad. One side there was the canal, and beyond it palm trees, grassland, distant mountains, and the blue sky. On the other side was a deep ditch, and then acres and acres of green field, green, 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 as far as the eye could see. So on one side there was the canal, and after the canal there were palm trees, grasslands, mountains were there, and the blue sky. Everything was very calm, very quiet, and very beautiful. And on the other side there was a deep ditch. Ditch is, you can say, it's a trench, a deep open hole, you can say. And after that there were acres and acres of green field. So everything there was green, and it was a very beautiful scene. Oh, it was all so wonderful, and she was so happy to see, and she just thought, everything is so wonderful, so amazing it is. Suddenly she was startled by a voice. Startled means distracted. So suddenly she was distracted by a voice. "Listen, child," said the voice. "You shouldn't stand like that. Sit down." And the voice asked her to not to stand like that, and the voice asked her to sit down. Children, that's all for today. Rest we will do in the next class.